Oh my goodness, we had no idea how much history was in this one building. Wow. Hello! Today we are headed to the town of Gloucester. There's a church or temple that we're gonna check out and King Edward II's tomb. We're just gonna check out some pubs and just go explore. Let's go! Beatrix Potter's attraction that way. First we're gonna go see the cathedral. So we made it to the cathedral. We were supposed to take the 97 bus to the 94. To Gloucester?
Oh.
It's cheaper. Thank you.
And the whole route was gonna take about 30 minutes, but we accidentally missed the exchange, so we stayed on the 97 for the entire time, which is about an hour. But we're here, we made it. This is the cathedral. So we're gonna go see if we can get inside.
Welcome to Gloucester Cathedral, where we're going to take a tour of one of the most stunning examples of stone masonry from the medieval, Gothic, and Victorian eras here in England. This place holds more than a millennia of historical designs.
Beautiful stained glass. Organ. Oh my goodness, we had no idea how much history was in this one building. We knew it was really old, but we didn't realize how many people had added to it over the centuries and all of the history that is captured here. So, for example, this stone seat, these were the only seats originally in the abbey or the church. It changed names over the years. It was a cathedral at one point, but these stone seats were built in for the infirm. You needed to sit down. Everybody else just stood in this room. They would say the weakest to the wall, which is not a fighting term, turns out. It's a term for in church. The weakest would come to the wall to have a seat.
So over the years, different masons had their hands in this building at one time or another.
So these marks were thought at one point to be graffiti, but they're actually masonry marks.
A lot of them in the early 11th through 13th century were illiterate. So they would use markings to show what work they did after they were done.
So the masons each had their own mark.
That's how they got paid for the day and for the work that they put in. The one up top.
These are both cool, yeah. So these columns are actually, they're each made with stone, but the inside is hollow. So they've just made like a circle of stone.
All of this is limestone.
And inside is rubble, which makes sense because it took them a really long time to carve each of these.
So that they would stand for a long time. Turns out they've been standing for about 1,000 years.
So one of the reasons that the masons could make their marks on the columns and the stones was they would have been painted over, so you wouldn't have seen them. So they've restored the columns out in the front that were built during the Anglo Saxon times, but these columns are still painted, and you can't see the markings anymore from the masons. As you can see here, the bright colors and reds and greens and golds. It's very ornate.
First up, we're going to head down to the crypt, where the cathedral's masonry really comes to life.
Like to go and just wait at the bottom of the steps for me. Take care.
So cute. I didn't know we were going to go inside, down something.
Does anybody know the history, the early history of this cathedral?
I did, but I've forgotten.
Yeah. Right. This has been a site of Christian worship since the year 678. That was when the first Christian community was founded on this place. There used to be a Roman temple somewhere around here, but we're not quite sure where. They were extremely clever. And those stonemasons knew what to do. They knew they put another layer of stone in the arches. They increased the size of the columns from that size to that size. That stopped the church from sinking. And the walls down here are 2.5 metres thick. Because the original depth of the floor would have meant it was always flooded. The Victorians raised the floor, and it's probably the oldest thing in the cathedral. Very crude Norman decoration. This is known as zigzag. And what we think happened in here was an apprentice was told by the master mason that he could practice his craft in here. Because if you look, if you take it that he started from here, it doesn't do it very well. Then he gets a little bit better, and then he got excited, and it sort of went downhill again.
Now it's back upstairs to the bishop's prayer area. This is where the bishop himself comes to worship. But even if you're not a bishop, you can still soak up the peaceful atmosphere.
Look at these chairs. Higher people sit. Look, the chairs are like in different levels. That person is down. These three are in the middle, and this person is the highest seated. If you look, like this person has a much more ornate top. Oh, it has names on it.
Yeah, Jennifer, 1749 to 1823.
Wow. This is where you put your books, and then they have candles, or lights for... But I think they used to be candle holders, and then they turned them electric, you know? Everywhere you look is so beautiful. Oh, that's the famous hallway. This is gonna be cool, babe.
I agree. The cloister is one of the most iconic and recognizable parts of the cathedral, and it's easy to see why. The cloister is a covered walkway that runs along the inner courtyard of the cathedral, and its fan vaulting is a beautiful example of Gothic architecture. Many visitors to the Gloucester Cathedral come specifically to see the cloister, which has been used as a filming location for several movies, including Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. The walkway is lined with intricately carved stones and arches, which create the stunning visual effects that's both awe-inspiring and peaceful. It's rarely been mimicked due to the intricacy involved. One of the unique features of the cloister are the stained glass windows. The art in these windows depicts scenes from the Bible, as well as figures from medieval legend and history. The cloister is also home to a beautiful garden, which is lovingly tended by the cathedral's team of gardeners. The garden is a peaceful oasis in the heart of the city, and it's the perfect place to relax and reflect on the beauty of the cathedral. Cloister is a true masterpiece that will take your breath away. And speaking of this stunning architecture, we can't forget King Edward II's tomb. He was buried here almost 700 years ago, and this tomb is a masterpiece of Gothic design. But even if you're not a king, you can still come and see one of England's most colorful historical figures. You can also view the comprehensive collection of tombs and monuments, including Robert, Duke of Normandy, and the tomb of Abbot Seabrook.
Here, yeah.
yeah. His dad was Bad King John. You know about Bad King John? He was made to sign the Magna Carta, and he didn't like doing that, so he was fighting his barons.
That concludes our tour of the Gloucester Cathedral. Next, we're headed to the Beatrix Potter store and to a pub to grab a bite to eat. Welcome to the Beatrix Potter store in Gloucester. Today we are going to look at this wonderful store and discover the magic of Beatrix Potter. Let's go inside. Whoa, check this out. This magical shop is filled with everything Beatrix Potter, from Peter Rabbit and Jemima Puddle-Duck to Benjamin Bunny and Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. You can find all of your favorite characters here. The Beatrix Potter store has been in Gloucester for over 20 years. This charming shop and museum are housed in the same building that inspired Beatrix Potter's very story, The House of the Tailor of Gloucester. As a visitor, you may enjoy viewing the tailor's kitchen, as well as a variety of displays that bring her favorite story to life. If you're a Beatrix Potter fan, this is definitely a stop you don't want to miss. Now, it's time for dinner. We're starving. On to the pub. Welcome to the Robert Raikes Inn, a historic house turned inn located in the heart of Gloucester. It's so cute. This building has a rich history dating back to 1560, when it was built as a merchant's house. Later, in the 18th century, It was a residence for Robert Raikes. He lived in this house with his family for many years, and it was here that he founded the first Sunday school in 1780. Today the house is preserved as a historic site and has been converted into a charming inn. We were happy to have this room all to ourselves with a nice warm fire. It was the first coal fire Stephen or I had ever seen.
Okay.
Would you like a menu? The dining area is a great place to enjoy a meal or a drink with a cozy atmosphere.
The grilled half chicken and chips, that was really good. You can afford it at these prices.
They are good prices too, huh? Mm-hmm. Like how much is our drinks? $7 something for both.
Okay.
I didn't even think about it. We decided to each have a pint and some local fare.
So you low on me now.
I'm short. So John Stafford Smith was born here in this city, and he's the one that composed the national anthem for the US.